We are quitting our jobs. We are taking our 2.5-year-old and almost 1-year-old. We're going to move into a fifth wheel and we are going to, as a family, travel around the country for 12 months. Welcome back to the channel, guys. If you are new here, my name is Laura. My husband's Hamilton. We have our son Wilder and our daughter Maisie, and we have been planning a trip to the national parks. We thought of this idea back in 2020. My husband at the time, he had this big map in his office, and sometimes we would just kind of stand there and look at the map. It was just like interesting. It was basically like art on the wall of his office, but we noticed that actually this particular map had all of the national parks marked. So we would kind of stand there and we'd just look at the parks. And back during the lockdowns in 2020, we just were like, how cool would it be to take a year off and just try to go travel to see all the national parks? So at the time, it felt like a pipe dream. Like we were like, there's no way that we're gonna actually be able to pull this off. But in the last like 2 or 3 years, we just decided to go for it. So we've really been working towards this for the last 6 years, I guess you could say, but seriously for the last kind of 2 to 3 years. We currently live in Austin, Texas. All of our family is actually back east in the Chattanooga, Tennessee area. So a year ago, or last May, we bought 60 acres of land in North Georgia, right outside of Chattanooga. So we are going to move back to Georgia, but we thought this transition time is honestly kind of the perfect time to take time off to go travel. We would have had to kind of quit our jobs to move back home anyway. So we've been, like I said, kind of planning, saving, and we're hoping in the next couple of months that we're actually going to be able to leave on this trip. The big thing that could slow us down is just we have to sell our house here in Austin. So we just put it on the market like 10 days or so ago. And so, but basically once this sells, we are trying to get up and get out of here. So I currently work in the medical field. My husband is a pastor. He works full-time at the church that we attend. We actually moved to Austin 4 years ago to help plant the church that we're a part of. So yeah, he's worked there since then. And again, I've worked in the medical field this whole time. So we are planning to step away from both of those jobs. My husband works full-time. I actually only work 3 days a week right now since we've had kids, which has been really fantastic. But yeah, we are just excited for this next chapter. And you know, I think being unemployed feels a little bit scary. And actually, we don't fully know what we're doing when we get to Chattanooga for work. I think in a perfect world, we would love to like homestead, basically. So we'd love to just work on the property and try to make enough money to sustain ourselves in that way. That may totally be unrealistic, and we, you know, both of us may have to get jobs outside of, you know, just working the land. But we're kind of trying to be pretty intentional about the way that we are doing things with our finances in terms of whatever we build, like whatever house or barn dominium or whatever we're going to build on the land, we'd love to try to do it, like pay for it as we go and do it ourselves so that we don't have to take out a mortgage. And we try to do the same thing with our vehicles. We try to never have a car payment. So honestly, if you can knock out, you know, a mortgage and a car payment, those are typically people's biggest bills. So we can live on, you know, we can live pretty cheaply if we don't have lots of big bills. And so that's kind of what we're thinking when we move back, but we may have to completely change our tune depending on just the financial situation and kind of what's going on. But I am not actually planning to return to work in the medical field once we move. But again, if I need to do that, then I certainly can and will do that. So for the next year, we're gonna, like I said, try to hit as many of the 63 national parks as we're able to. I realistically don't know if we'll hit all of them. Hawaii and American Samoa, the biggest barrier there is just going to be cost. Obviously, we'd have to fly everybody to Hawaii, and then you leave from Honolulu to fly to American Samoa. So I don't know if that's going to happen this year. Potentially it could. Also up in Alaska, we are planning to go to Alaska, but I think there are 2 or 3 parks in Alaska that you cannot drive into. You either have to like hike in or you have to fly in. So we're going to try to hit all 8 parks in Alaska if we possibly can. But obviously when you have a 2.5-year-old and a 1-year-old, you know, you have to just kind of do what you can. So we do want to hit as many of the parks as we're able to. And I think for sure we'll be able to get to all the ones in the lower 48. There are, in Alaska and in the lower 48, there's 59 parks, because you have American Samoa, you have 2 in Hawaii, and then you have US Virgin Islands. So if we made it to all of them in the lower 48 and on the 8 in Alaska, that'd be 59 parks total. So it comes out to, you know, roughly a park a week. I'm sure there's going to be weeks when we do more than one park. But we do just want to like take our time. We're not trying to rush this. So it's not kind of this challenge that we have to get through. It's more of just an opportunity to take a break from work, have kind of a little mini retirement, if you will. So we are not planning to work on the road. We have been saving to try to pay for this in cash. We actually have purchased the truck and we have purchased the fifth wheel that we're going to take. We're going to take a few little trips while we're waiting for the house to sell, just so we can figure out what we're doing, because we are first time RVers, but really, really excited about that. One little thing, if we were able to make it to all 63, just like a little fun thing that could potentially happen is I think my daughter could actually be the youngest person to ever make it to all 63 parks if we were able to get to all 63 within a year. She turns 1 in May, and again, we're hoping to leave sometime in the next couple of months, so she'll be freshly 1. I think some people are going to think that we're kind of crazy for doing this with kids so young, and I see their point, but we feel like, again, just this time of transition in our lives, it makes sense to do it. And there's also something to be said for the fact that our kids are not in school yet, they're not in sports yet, and so, you know, in terms of just picking them up and moving them around, like this seems like kind of an easy time to do it. Of course, like traveling with kids, you have to have a whole extra layer of flexibility, but we're really excited to just get the time with our kids. They're super fun and cute, and I think this will just be a really good kind of family time and a good time for us to step away from work. Obviously, we will have to go back to work eventually, but I just think this will be a really sweet time for us. Once we get back from the trip, we will go back to Chattanooga. We have the 60 acres of land. You can check out our videos. We've done a little land tour, and then there's an old farmhouse on the property, and we've done a little walkthrough of that. We will be hopefully renovating the farmhouse. We also will probably be building a separate house, so that will be coming after our big trip. But that's kind of the update with the trip and kind of what it is that we're planning. So we would love to leave this summer, but again, I think the house sale situation is going to be kind of what determines if that is a reality for us or not that soon. We'll, you know, maybe we'll leave this fall. The route that we take, though, will sort of be influenced by what time of year we leave, because obviously, you know, we don't want to be up in Montana in December. So you do have to kind of plan it around just the weather and the ideal time to be at which parks and kind of how we'll do that. But that's the plan as of right now. If you're someone who has been to a lot of national parks, we'd love to hear, like, if you have any specific recommendations for certain parks of what we should try to see. We, again, will be a little bit limited with the kids. Like, I don't think we'll be doing, 20-mile hikes or anything with our kids, but we'd love to just get into the parks to see as much as we can while we're there. I have personally been to, I think, about 14 or 15 of the national parks, so I do have a little bit of experience. I think my husband's probably been to like 5 or 6 of the parks, so we have been and we have done some national park things, but this will be our first time RVing and our first time trying to like travel this much. I think if you map it all out, we're looking at about 30,000 miles of travel if we're able to do everything that it is that we want to do. Things that could affect the length of the trip and where we get to is obviously finances. Like, we don't have endless amounts of money, so if we end up kind of going way over budget, we'll have to end the trip early. Obviously, if anything comes up with our health or our kids' health, like, we'll end the trip early if we need to. But this is what we're working towards right now. We're super, super excited. I do want to show you guys something really quick that we picked up that I think will be a fun little activity for the kids to do, or particularly my son, to do while we're on the trip. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you guys. So we bought this national park tracker. I think the brand is, it's like LE Maps. So I don't know if it's like Lee Maps, or I don't know how you really say it, but this is what it looks like. It's really beautiful. So it has a slot for each park. It's personalized at the bottom for our family. And then it has these, you know, it has one of these for each of the parks. And they're basically kind of like, they're like puzzle pieces basically. So they look like that. And then when you go to each park, you just pop it in. So by the end of this, hopefully most of this is full. Obviously all of it would be super cool, but I think my son will have a lot of fun adding each of these after each park. So really, really beautiful. There's just like different art for each park. So yeah, really excited to use this, and I think my son will be really excited, and then it'll just be a really beautiful keepsake for us after the trip.